The Eloise Asylum on Michigan Avenue east of Merriman dates back to the 1830s and long served as a care facility for the poor, mentally ill, and those in need of long-term medical care. It was named for the daughter of the Detroit postmaster in 1894. During its peak use in the 20th century, this campus consisted of 78 buildings on 902 acres with 10,000 patients and 2,000 staff. It was so large that it was a self-sufficient community with its own police and fire departments, trolley system, and power plant. Changes in healthcare led to the facility's decline, and all care operations were closed by Wayne County in the 1980s. Today, only a few of the original buildings remain, but the property was purchased in 2018 by John Hambrick, who has invested in the property to preserve it as a unique place for historians, paranormal enthusiasts, and other entertainment. And we are joined today by Eloise owner John Hambrick. John, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us about all that's available here on this property.
So we have several things available. We have state-of-the-art escape rooms. We also do paranormal tours. We have historic tours. We also do state-of-the-art haunted attraction. And we do different events throughout the year. You're going to see us get a little bit more active in the summertime with, like this year we did a haunted harvest where it was 70 vendors, food trucks, just come on out and support the local vendors and hang out, which was a true success. So.
And we were talking earlier, you do have, you've done concerts and shows like that out here as well. So you got a lot of things you can do on the 17 acres here.
Absolutely, yeah. We've done a couple concerts and they've been a success. So we're going to look at doing more. So,
tell us how you discovered this place and then developed the ideas to recreate it.
So I have an affordable housing background. I've done affordable housing for over 17 years now. And I'd done a project with the county that was, I'd done several projects with the county, and Eloise was on the market for 3 years. Mm-hmm. So they had it for $3 million at first. They got no bids. They dropped it all the way down to $1 million. There were no bids on this property. So the county needed to obviously get rid of some assets because it was draining budget. So I got a call from a gentleman, his name was Khalil Rahal, who was the deputy executive at the time. Said, "Hey John, I'm wondering if you're interested in a property we have." And I said, "Sure, I'm always interested in property. I'm a real estate developer." He said, "Well, I'd love for you to take a look at a property I got that the county's eager to get rid of." And I said, "Okay." He set it all up. I drove here and I came into the K-Beard building where we are now. And I remember walking in and the fire alarm was going off. It was going wah, wah. And it was very loud, right? And they're like, "Oh, let us take care of that." And I remember looking around and it looked like as if the county had just left. Mm-hmm. There were coffee cups sitting on the desk, files everywhere, there was still a lot of belongings here. And of course it was pretty messy as well because the building pretty much was getting broken into almost every evening because of all the folklore, right? People wanted to urban explore. So we walked through the whole building and, especially on the upper floors, I kind of went, "Whoa, what is this?" And I figured it out. And then, we left. And when I left, I had no intention of ever coming back to Eloise, right? And I got a call from Mr. Rahal 2 weeks later, and he said, "What'd you think of the property?" And I said, it is. It's a great property. It's very nice, right? I just looked at the mass of it and what it would take to clean it up, first of all, environmentally, and the demolition piece, right? And I just went, I'm just not interested right now. Because the demolition is a dead cost to any project. Mm-hmm. You never make your money back on abatement or demolition. And there's $6 million sitting here in that, right? And I said, I'm just really not interested. It's too much for me to bite off at this time. He said, "Come on, make me an offer." I said, "No, Khalil, I really don't. I don't really have an interest in, taking on that massive project right now." And then he said, "Come on, make me an offer." And so something in my head said, "Well, I'll give you $1." He said, will you take the property if I give it to you for $1? And I said, if you give it to me for $1, I will take the property and I will figure something out. He said, submit your proposals. So there was an open RFP, request for proposals, on the property, and there was only 2 that got submitted, mine and Samaritas's. Samaritas is the nonprofit that runs a family shelter that is still here. And but Samaritas did not want to take the property until they obtained all the funding. The county was not interested in that. They wanted the property off their books. So I won. And when I first bought the property, I was going to do affordable senior on it. And when we purchased the property in July of 2018, we scored very well on MISHDA's low-income housing tax credit application. It's a very competitive program that basically will fund the construction of any project that you're trying to do. But it takes a lot to get that application done. You have to have full architectural drawings, you got to have your zoning in place, you got to have a lot of things in place. And there's a cost to it too of about $50K. So if you want to submit, you got to make sure you score high. When we did our preliminary scoring, we did score high, but we missed that round because we weren't ready to submit. Well, they do that twice a year, October and April. I said, well, we'll just go in April. Well, after that October round in 2018, MISHDA changed their whole scoring app. So we didn't score like at all because MISHDA geared more towards walkable communities. They wanted projects more of in a downtown so the residents could, basically access amenities, which makes sense, right? So I lost the funding and I thought, well, what am I going to do now, right? I got this property, I got to figure something out. And a friend of mine was a big paranormal ghost hunter at the time, and he said, John, can we please go in there for the night? Please, please. And I finally said, sure. Because at that time, there were so many holes to get in this place, I was pretty much getting broken into every night. So I thought, oh, it's free security for the night, why not? So I came down to let him in, and the guy that ran the group said, did you ever think about doing tours here? And I said, why? Do you think it'd be popular? And he said, oh my God, this is the holy grail of paranormal.
And you'd never heard of paranormal activities before this, right?
I mean, I have, but I wasn't really like an avid, person on it. And I went, okay. So we got a schedule together, and, we posted it on Eventbrite, and we sold out in 15 minutes. We literally crashed Eventbrite because so many people were buying tickets at one time. So as we kept selling out all the way to Tuesday, we had to take Mondays off. We sold completely out for the entire season, and I said, man, I ought to rethink this. So as I started, getting to know the community and digging into the history of this place, I found out the true love for Eloise, that the people that live here love this place, right? Either they had an aunt, an uncle, a grandpa, a mom, worked here, or were a patient here. They really wanted this place to exist still. So I started, what can I do to generate revenue, right? Obviously, there's taxes due, there's insurance due, there's, utilities due, right? So I came up with the idea, why not do a haunted attraction, right? In October, still run paranormal tours, still do historic tours, and then try to do different events on this beautiful property during the summer. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Now, obviously, the haunted house that you have here is more for Halloween season, but the paranormal stuff goes around all season, right? From
Absolutely.
March till it gets too cold here in the winter.
Yeah, the paranormal historic run from April to the end of November. The escape rooms run 352 days a year. Is that right? No. Whatever. They run all year. 365
days minus the holidays, yeah.
Yeah. So, they're open all the time because that space is conditioned. We have air conditioning and heat. The top 3 floors of the building are still not heated. Okay. So only the basement, first floor are heated.
So how many people will be here on a weekend? Like we're in Halloween season right now, so you're busier right now. Like how many visitors do you have here on a typical weekend in October?
Typically, we run between 8 and 15,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so we stay pretty busy.
And you're drawing from all over Metro Detroit, I imagine here.
We're drawing from all over the country.
Wow.
I've had people fly in from California, Texas, out east to do paranormal. Paranormal draws from all over. In fact, one of my staff members was just in New Orleans, and she brought up Eloise, and they knew it in New Orleans. So we are now reaching the whole nation.
So it's amazing in 6 years what you thought you were doing and what you ended up doing and what it's become. It's got
God always has a different plan.
It's got to
right?
amaze you even with how this has played out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So what do you got cooking for the future here? Obviously, you're off to a good start right now with what you have here so far, but what else are you thinking for the future here?
So currently, the firehouse that still remains on the property, it's the original firehouse where they actually kept the fire trucks. It's actually, I found out, the oldest building in Westland too, because it was built in 1898. I had to save it. The original plan was to demo it, but it was kind of a really cool building. And once I found out it was the oldest building in Westland, I'm like, God, I can't tear this down. The roof was failing on it, so it leaked and the second floor collapsed onto the garage below, which pulled the walls in because of the trusses set right into the wall. So I basically had to rebuild the east wall brick by brick. We tore it down, cleaned the brick up, and used the original brick, re-rafter the roof, resheet it, and then roof it. So the building is 100% weatherproof, but future plans on that, I'd like to do a barbecue place with maybe a microbrewery or a micro distillery. It has a beautiful courtyard that's fenced, so really make that great for outdoor dining in the summer. I would love to do a 1930s speakeasy inside of this building, and make it like where you got to come to the side door and you got to have a password. The guy slides the little thing open and you give the password and you go up, and keep the building original until you walk into the speakeasy, and then you have this beautiful, posh, really elegant 1920s themed speakeasy, right?
So you're really into the history and everything that this property brings.
Yeah,
and
right.
that obviously influences what you're thinking about with this.
Absolutely. I want to immerse you into that time era, right? And then eventually, because the front of this building is where the staff used to live, right? So the K Beard building served as the admin building. So if you were a patient, you came here first, basically to get assessed, and then once they figured out what you needed for treatment, they put you in that different building when it was 78 buildings. So the front half of this is actually where the staff used to live, because back in the 30s, there wasn't much in Westland, right?
Yep.
So they would come here, stay here for 2 weeks, and then go home for 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I have 43 rooms with 2 apartments that I'd like to convert into a hotel. Boutique, right? So basically, redo all the trim to the original, right? Everything you see in the haunted attraction, we built right on site. So I have a CNC machine that can literally cut anything you want. So I can match all the original profile that's out there, that I have all the examples, get vintage furniture, put it in there, and then, just immerse you into the 20s, right?
Okay.
Keep the shared bathroom concept, because the single rooms, they actually shared the bathroom. The shower and the toilet were shared, but they had a sink and a closet in the room. So eventually I'd like to have that.
John, tell us how we can get more information about Eloise so people can check out what's here.
So most of our information is on www.eloiseasylum.com. You can also give us a call at 734-447-5515 and pick the different extensions of whoever you want to speak to. And then our Facebook page.
Okay. Well, John, congratulations on the success you and your team have had so far. We wish you all the best with your future ventures, and thank you for the time today.
Thank you.
And that's all the time we have for today's episode of CityScape. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next time.